What up, YouTube? Asian Persuasion here at the NAWCQ here in Pittsburgh. Here with our boys, Portal, Slim, and Fortune right here, baby. We're with who and what'd you do today, bro?
So I'm Matt Shomish. I'm in top 32 at the NAWCQ with Salamangreats.
With Salad Boys. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get in there after looking at your nice little price cards.
All right, so I played Salad because I felt like it was the most consistent deck, and there was a lot of rounds, so I wanted to do well most of the time. So we played standard Salamangreat monsters for the most part. 3 Spinny, 3 Gazelle, 3 Foxy, maximizes consistency, 1 Falco, 1 Jaguar, and 2 Foul. So we played 2 Foul because it was good going first and going second. If you draw going first, it's essentially a second trap card because you're guaranteed to be able to make Tornado Dragon or Abyss Dweller, whatever you want to make in terms of rank 4. And it also frees up your Gazelle to dump something other than a rank 4 if you're trying to make a Dweller play. Going second is really good too because if your opponent answers your initial normal summon, but this is already on the field as well, you can still make more plays. Then I also played Debug. Some people say this card's bad, but it's just 1 card play starter, so you gotta play it. It maximizes your chances of being able to play the game. Then we played 3 copies of Effect Tailor for hand traps, 2 Ghost Ogre, 3 Ash Blossom, and 3 Phantasme for the monster hand traps.
Yeah, a lot.
And that was it for the monsters. Not sure exactly how many it is, but it's quite a few.
Was Ogre good?
Ogre was pretty good, yeah. So I decided to main deck Ogre because I wanted 14 hand traps. I knew that that was the number I wanted to guarantee that I see some way to disrupt the Orcus combo or just other decks in general. It's really good in the mirror match if you hit like the Gazelle when it's first summoned, because most of the time it'll just end their play unless they have Will or some other extender. It's also really good, obviously, against Debug. You know, before Debug was at 1, that was the big thing, Ogre Debug in the turn. And then it's really good against Striker, hitting multi-rule, obviously. And it seems dead against Orcus, but sometimes, like, if you draw it, you just Ogre when they activate the Mermaid effect, and then they have to start their play with 1 monster, which means sometimes they can't make Rusty.
It'd be a lot harder.
Spell cards, 3 copies of Circle, 3 copies of Signet Mining. Again, maximizing consistency. This is technically not a 1-card play starter, but it pretty much is. 1 copy of Sanctuary, because you need to play it. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. So you'd think this would conflict a lot. I'm only playing 1 Jaguar, you've got Sanctuary. So I didn't really use it as a play finder, I use it more of a play extender. So if you just have Gazelle or any of the 1-card play starters, you're able to get the field spell and Jaguar out of your deck already, which means everything else you're playing has multiples, and you're not worried about losing access to those cards. And it just helps you draw into hand traps when going first. Also helps you draw into your side cards, games 2 and 3. And then trap cards, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Like I said, 14 hand traps was a good number. I felt like Effect Negation, stopping the Orcus combo was critical when going second. And then I played 2 copies of Rage and 1 copy of Roar. Again, I was somewhat playing to go first with Pot of Desires, so drawing into these cards was really good. I felt that this card was better than this card in most matchups. This was only really optimal to send, in my opinion, games like 2 and 3 if you think they might bring in evenly or some kind of massive comeback mechanic. And that was it for the main deck.
40 cards?
40 cards. And then extra deck's pretty standard. 3 copies of Baylynx, 3 copies of Sunlight Wolf, 2 Heat Leo, 1 Phoenix, 1 Hida, 1 World Sword. That was the rank 4 I chose to play just because it could end a game. I only summoned it once, but it did end the game, so I guess it was worthwhile. And then I played 1 Stalio. I played Tornado Dragon for rank 4, and then I played 2 copies of Abyss Dweller. Yeah, no, this tilts people. So the second Dweller tilts people, yeah, especially since you purposefully mismatch the rarities just so they get extra tilt. Yeah,
the gold rare one too?
So yeah, so I played 2 Dweller. It's really good because if you make it against Orcus, they have to play really awkwardly, and if you establish the second Dweller, even if you can't kill them, which you can kill them with World Sword a lot of the times, but sometimes it's just safer to make the Dweller. The thing about Dweller I saw a lot of people misplaying this weekend is if you just shotgun the Dweller's effect when your opponent starts their turn, they could have drawn into Gamma or Impermanence. So I was holding the Dweller until they summoned a monster or activated a card to decrease my chances of that getting negated. Because this blanket effect just turns off Orcus' entire turn. I did have 1 match, I think it was round 8 or 9, where I made a Dweller against Orcus, and he outed the Dweller, he outed the board, and then at the end of his turn, I'm just like, bro, what would you do if I told you I played a second Dweller? And he's just like, you don't. I revealed it from my extra deck, and he scooped. I couldn't even make the Dweller the next game, so if you're watching this, I'm sorry, man.
You do play 2 Dwellers.
Yep. And then the side deck. We got 3 copies of Lancia, ends Orcus' turn, ends Thunder Dragon's turn. It's a pretty good card. 3 copies of Typhoon. This was my only spell and trap removal aside from the 2 main deck Rage. to out something like Mystic Mine, which I did have to play in top 64. And then we've got 2 copies of Anti-Spell. Again, good against Mystic Mine, good against Striker, good against Pendulum. Didn't have to play against any Pendulum. Then there's no Call by the Graves in the main deck. I only thought it was good when I was going first, so I only brought it in situations where I was going first and my opponent played a hand trap, or if it was relevant. And then we've got 3 copies of Evenly Matched, just a really good comeback card. It's versatile in a lot of matchups. I thought about playing like Mystic Mine, just for going second to out the Thunder Dragon board. But fun fact, I actually did not play a single Thunder Dragon the entire tournament. 0 Thunder Dragons in 14 rounds, no Thunder Dragons. And then the last card in the side deck was 1 copy of Salamangreat Peril. You can gain 2,000 life points and win in time. So the card's pretty good. Yeah, this card is really good, except the one time that I was in a situation where I was going to be able to use this, I drew it for turn, so I wound up getting a draw.
Oh, really?
Because you can't, you have to tribute summon this card. I had no other way to special summon a monster to tribute summon this and resolve it. So, so this card was actually bad, but in theory it was pretty good.
All right, man. Shout out.
Yeah. So shout outs to all the guys who ditched me, who left yesterday after dropping. Hell yeah. But really shout outs to everybody in the Cleveland area. Shout outs to my locals, Alt Reality Games. Shout outs to Argent Saga, brand new trading card game from Alt Reality Games. I did a lot of play testing with for Naps, obviously with Yu-Gi-Oh, but I also was playing a lot of Argent Saga. So I think just seeing a different aspect helped me play a little bit better. And then also shout outs to Anthony Bonnet, who let me borrow cards. I appreciate that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, man. Congrats on getting top 32. Thanks for taking tomorrow, bro. Congrats again, brother. You did good, man.
Appreciate it.